How do you define legacy in sports? The matter usually comes down to one question that always seems to carry the most weight. How many championships have you won? When we look between the hashes on the gridiron in Southeast Ohio, those championships have been hard to come by. Since 1972, when the Ohio High School Athletic Association began the playoff era, only 8 of a possible 285 state champions have come from this region, just under 3%. So in lieu of championships, how else can we quantify legacy? In December 2019, during his iconic Heisman speech, Joe Burrow needed just 31 seconds to put a spotlight on Southeast Ohio. Over the next month, donations to the Athens County Food Pantry surged to nearly $650,000, and the seeds were sown for a legacy Joe and his family are still writing. But when it comes to the game itself, given all that Joe has accomplished, it might be easy to forget he never won a high school state championship. That's where we'll begin, the Plains, Ohio in 2014.
I definitely always believed that Joe could do whatever he set his mind to. He was always very driven, and I just always felt like he was going to take the next step because he was very focused on becoming the best that he could be.
It was very evident to everybody in our program that this guy was going to show up every day and reach a different level of work ethic. And you know, it was not okay to be good. We had to be great. That's what struck me about Joe is we're going to win with this kid whether he has a bunch of talent or not.
And win they did. The Athens Bulldogs entered the 2014 playoffs an unbeaten 10-0 and were soon staring down St. Francis de Sales in the regional final. The Bulldogs had made it this far the past 2 seasons, but faltered both times. A 5-touchdown performance from Joe saw the Bulldogs finally get over the hump, and soon the team was on the precipice of history, a chance at a first-ever state title for Athens. The only thing standing in their way was the Toledo Central Catholic Fighting Irish.
I remember sitting down with the offensive guys saying Toledo Central Catholic has the best high school defense I've ever seen, and I don't think they can stop us. And I knew with the guys that we have and with Joe as our triggerman, I felt like we could score on anybody.
The Bulldogs absolutely could score on anybody, as they put up 52 points on that vaunted Fighting Irish defense. But with a rushing touchdown with 15 seconds on the clock, Toledo Central Catholic put up 56 points of their own and beat the Bulldogs by 4 for the state title.
If you've ever watched his interview after the game, he said it was the worst day of his life, and so that kind of tells it all.
It was devastating for all of us. We all believed, I think, until the very last second that they still had a chance to win.
You know, I think there were going to be a whole lot of tears after that game no matter what, because it kind of hits you all at once as a coach and as players that this was it. I wish I could rewind and not even coach and just watch that season from afar. It was so special around here.
Joe left Athens High School as the greatest to ever do it at the program, commandeering one of the most historic offenses in Ohio high school football history. The Bulldogs averaged 57.4 points per game, and Joe won Gatorade Player of the Year in Ohio for the 2nd year in a row. That isn't Joe's legacy, though. We'll come back to that because Athens wasn't the only legendary high school football team making noise in the early 2010s. Let's head 12 miles up State Route 13. Welcome to Gloucester, home of Trimble High School. This small town of about 1,500 love few things more than their Tomcats, and for good reason. Trimble has a long-standing tradition of success in the Tri-Valley Conference, but it wasn't until 2013 that things reached a fever pitch. The legacy that cemented itself might have started on the field then, but it lives on now, on people's heads. This is the legacy of the Mohawk Mafia.
I knew we had some good kids coming up, and the year before that, we started to get better and better, and you could just feel it.
Head coach Phil Fairs and the Trimble Tomcats were coming off a heartbreaking playoff loss in 2012. and came into the 2013 season looking to carry that momentum to greater heights. Former Trimble wide receiver and cornerback Austin Downs knew that his class was born to win.
We had the bulk of our cast back, and we were a play away from being at that level. I think we knew then, like, let's ramp it up, do what we can, get the most out of this, because we knew then that we had a chance in 2013 to get to the final stage.
Success came quickly in 2013. The Tomcats strolled through their regular season, ending with a perfect 10-0 record before the playoffs. The spotless record wasn't the most notable thing about the Trimble football team, though.
It started with that group when they were younger. They had some success in Little League, had some success in junior high. A few of them got their hair cut in the mohawk. You can do that stuff when you win. They took pride in cutting it. A couple of them bought the shears that they cut hair with. There was people in line after every practice waiting to get their hair cut.
I remember doing it, dyeing it red, and then it just became like a thing of pride. Who has the tallest mohawk? Keep your mohawk in shape. Hey, you better dye your mohawk. During the school day, other students would be joining the Mohawk Mafia. You know, on lunch break, go in there, cut your mohawk, call it a day, and then it just went and spread like wildfire. It started late in 2012, but it was like full-blown by probably before the season even started, 2013. That was going to be who we were.
Everywhere you looked in Gloucester, there was a Mohawk. From babies to the eldest grandmothers and grandfathers, Mohawk Mafia took over the town.
I would say 3 out of 4 people had mohawks in town. My mom was 88 years old, I think, and she got a mohawk. So,
It's still reflected in today's teams, through the posters on the walls at Gloucester Memorial Stadium and in their weekly traditions. This is the hit stick, adorned with a skull sporting that trademark red mohawk. It's awarded to the player with the biggest hit in the team's last game.
so it was an honor to get it each game, then you got to keep it for the week. That's probably the biggest thing, is a sign of teamwork and togetherness.
Trimble would make it all the way to the 2013 state final, but came up short against small school juggernaut Marion Local. The loss didn't dampen what was a dream season for the Tomcats.
It didn't take anything away from what we did. The community was there. Fresh after the game, I remember Coach telling us to go visit the crowds, see the fans, see your family. We'll talk in the locker room later. Like, they've been here with you guys all along.
Gloucester always has and always will be dedicated to its Tomcats. But the team that materialized in 2013 stamped a legacy that continues to this day. A legacy that began with a group of determined young players who weren't shy about showing their togetherness and success in a way that was loud, fun, and endearing for the whole community.
The first time we played in the state finals, played for a state championship, it's going to be connected to that. Anytime we have a run, you'll see the Mohawk Mafia come back.
Before Coach Fairs, there was another legendary coach who started his journey at Trimble, Paul Culver Jr. Coach Fairs was an assistant on Culver Jr.'s staff for the Tomcats. Culver Jr. would soon leave and travel up to Thornville in Perry County, where he became head coach of the Sheridan Generals. From 1981 until his retirement in 2015, Paul Culver Jr. rewrote the Generals' record books. He won 324 games, which ranks 4th in Ohio high school history. When he stepped down from his post, it was one of those jobs that no one wanted. How could you possibly follow in the footsteps of one of the greatest to ever do it? One man interviewed for the job.
I'm Paul Culver III, and I am proudly the son of Paul Culver Jr.
Since taking over for his dad, the standard has not dropped an inch at Sheridan. The same values and ideals that Paul Culver Jr. instilled in his players, the right mental attitude, accountability, working as hard as possible, conducting yourself with class, Paul Culver III continues to impress upon his generals.
Big game tonight, gentlemen. Why is it a big game? Because the Sheridan Generals are in it. Because the Sheridan Generals are 4-0 and they're on a mission. just like we've been on a mission since 1981 when my dad came here and he put together a staff and he started getting kids to believe in the right mental attitude, and everything changed, and we're still living off that 40 years later. Everything tonight is about physicality and execution, and it's never good enough until the final whistle blows. You understand me? Yes, sir. It is relentless. It never lets up. It is suffocating for the entire game. Get after it, because it's not good enough until it is the Red Rage perfect. Yes? Yes, sir. Let's go!
I don't think that my dad finding football success changed this community. I think the excellence was there. The football program that he was building and the values and the work ethic and the type of people that are found here in this community, I think it was a perfect marriage that they found each other.
Nice job, Caden. That's awesome. Hey, keep it up. Keep it up, Red Rage. 2-minute drill. You ready? Yes, sir. Hey, gotta have this. Gotta have this. Holy cow! Yes! Wow.
So as a coach, the biggest thing that my dad was he loved what he did because he felt the game mattered. He felt that it mattered not in terms of wins and losses, but in terms of the impact that it could have on young people. The fact that he believed in the right mental attitude and that it instilled relationships and instilled positive work ethic and it instilled character and discipline and toughness and all those things that go into what it means to be a football player.
You keep up in the ante. What are you going to do next, all right? What are you going to do next? Holy crap.
The right mental attitude is the real key to it.
What's up, guys? Good to see you, good to see you, good to see you.
Paul Culver Jr. and the right mental attitude are present each and every game day at Sheridan. After retiring in 2015, Culver Jr. remained a steady presence at the stadium that now bears his name. After watching a big playoff victory in 2020, Culver Jr. found his son on the field and gave him a memory he'll never forget.
I just remember we're walking around just watching the kids enjoy it. And I see my dad, and at that point it's end stages cancer. He just comes up to me with this look in his eyes. And it was twofold in the sense that he was proud of his son, he was proud of his community, but I know on some level he was proud of the football team that he had built and that it's still here and it's still significant. And that's not arrogant, because he knew he was doing something significant. He knew he was doing something that was going to create a legacy that was going to last.
Culver Jr. passed away in February of 2022. The lessons he instilled were always bigger than the game itself and serve as a good reminder that when life revolves around sports, championships aren't everything.
If you put your name on someone's heart, if my dad instills the right mental attitude in someone's heart, instills the right way of doing things on someone's heart, that's going to last. And ultimately, that's more important than a championship.
You'd be hard-pressed to find a heart that hasn't been carved upon in Thornville by the Culver family. But making your name synonymous with core values that carry weight takes time, something the Culvers have been cultivating in Perry County since 1981. Back in Athens County, another name is trying to mean something as well, though this one is just getting started, and recently took a major step forward with the establishment of the Joe Burrow Foundation.
It's certainly important to our family name. It's not just the Joe Foundation, it's the Joe Burrow Foundation. Joe, once upon a time in an interview, said everybody has the responsibility to do good. That's part of our focus with our foundation is to do good.
Our mission is to provide resources and support for the underprivileged and underserved, and our two main areas of focus are food insecurity and youth mental health.
The foundation is still in its early stages, but Jim, Robin, and Joe have major plans to expand and grow the foundation's reach and capabilities throughout the next decade. That's a major part of the legacy Joe will have in Athens County. Of course, legendary football player, but also someone who, with the platform he was given, was able to bring about meaningful change and help the lives of thousands in Southeast Ohio who desperately needed it.
It's more what's in his heart, and that's that he loves this area. People are proud of him.
The legacy that you leave is people think of you and what touches their heart to the point that they remember.
We feel like we have a responsibility to do good, as Joe said. So we want to leave a lasting impression.
When it really comes right down to it, your legacy is your family and the difference that you make.
Legacy is the impact that you have on the people that come after you. Joe's legacy with the Hunger Relief Fund is going to last a long time. And I have no doubt that Joe's going to be committed to this for a long time, and, you know, probably a couple generations of people will benefit from this, which is, you know, just incredible for this area.
Legacy is just how you're remembered. We talked about that a lot. Like, how does this team want to be remembered? We want to be remembered that, you know, the team that went the furthest, as, you know, of any others that have been through these walls, and we worked hard to be remembered, you know, differently than everybody else.
They were one of the hardest workers as a team, not just one or two players. I think that's the first group that I didn't have a senior as captain. I made juniors captain that year.
Legacy is something of significance that lingers or still lasts after you are gone. People might say my dad's football program, but I don't think that's my dad's legacy. I think that's a part of my dad's legacy. My dad's legacy, the significance is the fact that he believed in the right mental attitude, and that it instilled positive work ethic, and it instilled positive relationships, and those get passed down. So long as I'm the coach of the Sheridan Generals, it's going to be the right mental attitude, and I think this district has enough of an ownership of it. The people in this community have enough of an ownership of it that long after I'm gone, people are going to still talk about the right mental attitude.
All this talk of legacy, yet no mention of trophies or banners won. That's not to say these teams aren't chasing them, only that during that pursuit, a more meaningful kind of legacy is written. One that ultimately means more than any piece of hardware ever could. So take the football away, and what do you get? You get communities united by something bigger than the game itself. Traditions made that last lifetimes. And the commitment to build a better future for all those who come after. These are the Friday night legacies found throughout Southeast Ohio. These are the legacies worth celebrating.